Fellas, in today's video I'll be covering Magik in this Ultimate Marvel Rivals guide. Magik is a duelist who shines on the front line. She can use portals to get around targets and transform to unleash a devastating demon onto the enemy team. This makes her an excellent hero to deal with multiple targets or as a flanker, making her playstyle fairly unique. Unlike simple DPS like Scroll Girl, Magik does have a steep learning curve that's not just limited to her toolkit. Learning playstyles for different maps, game modes, and team builds is needed to make the most of her. It can be daunting to tackle, so at the very least you'll learn how to counter her in this video. Her combos, playstyle, and more will be covered, so whether you're new to her or need a Season 1 refresher, this video will be for you. Her offensive toolkit has her basic attack of swinging a sword, a dash, and a launch attack, as well as a projectile forward/attack. You also have a melee that you'll be using very often. Quickly jumping onto her support kit, that has her teleport, which grants invincibility for a short moment. And so that's it. Let's get back to the offensive toolkit again. After exiting the teleport, she gets two new attacks. A spinning attack, which is great for clusters of enemies, and lastly summoning a demon to do some attacks for you. Her passive allows for getting bonus health for yourself on damage done, and her team up with Black Panther and Psylocke gives them ability to go back in time. Magik is also a great pick as those two are fairly popular characters. Finally, topping off with the ultimate, which transforms Magik into a demon and enhances all of her abilities. So let's go over them and how to use them effectively. So Magik's basic attack is Soulsword, fairly straightforward, slash forward with a sword. It does 65 damage and it can hit up to 6.5 meters, but after the 5 meter mark, you do about 50% less damage. This has a big hitbox, so you don't need to be aiming perfectly in order to hit the targets. Just having them on screen tends to be enough. Her other abilities do require more accuracy, so do keep that in mind. But for her basic attack, which you will be using fairly often, you don't need to be all that accurate. I will be covering more of her combos later, but this one does go with her basic attack and something you should be using fairly often, so do learn it. That is her melee. Her melee does 35 damage, but you can animation cancel with her basic attack. So as you can see here, you do swing fairly slowly, getting in no extra damage. But you can chain this with her basic attack. You just have to wait for the actual hit to go through first. And so that's it. Hit melee, and that's an instant 100 damage. Her second attack is Magik Slash. It's a charged projectile. You can charge it up to 2 seconds to get to the full damage, or you can just tap it to get in a quick 45 damage. Letting go before that full charge up is done will do an in-between amount of damage. This does have a 6-second cooldown, allowing you to use it fairly often, and so this is great for openers, and it does not have a damage fall off. Next for Magik, we have the Umbral Incursion. I'll call it her dash just for ease. This is one of Magik's most useful abilities. As you dash forward and launch the enemies up into the air, she can dash forward up to 16 meters, and the attack does 85 damage. It does have an 8-second cooldown and is essential for her mobility. As we've learned in Marvel Rivals, you do need to aim to the right of the enemy to make sure that you do hit, since this is a projectile attack and Magik is the projectile in this one. Next up for her abilities is the Stepping Discs. I'll call it the teleport just for sake of ease. This is another shining move of hers, as this allows you to teleport and you get 2 bonus attacks afterwards. It has 2 charges with a 6-second cooldown, and the teleport lets you travel up to about 10 or so meters. You are invincible during this. Once you do come into the teleport, on the right side there's a 3-second timer for you to use these special attacks, and you can use those by either selecting your basic attack or your second attack. The first special attack will cover her basic, the Eldritch Whirl. Once you come into the teleport, you can do a big spinning slash to hit multiple enemies. This is really great as it does 45 damage, and it's awesome to use on objectives or even in tight areas. The second special attack is her Demon Rage, in which a little demon will spawn out of it. The demon will do 20 damage rapidly over 4 seconds, and this will also grant Magik some bonus health. The spawn will attack through shields as well, making it useful against vanguards, and it does have 100 health, so it can be killed pretty fast. Next up we have her passive, Limbo's Might, and it's a very useful one. This will convert damage on a 30% basis into bonus health, as you can see at the bottom there. Magik can also hold up to 150 bonus health as well. Again, this is a passive, so you won't need to think about it too much, and it's a great boost letting you stay in the fight longer, but it's not all that much of a bonus, so don't rely on that too heavily. And then lastly, we have her ultimate, Dark Child, where you transform into Dark Child, gaining enhancements on all of your abilities. This will allow you to do more damage and hit further, but you cannot use your melee during it, so be careful with that. Her basic attack will now hit up to 10 meters instead, and then has the damage fall off at 6 meters, but only for 25%. While using her ult, her basic attack now does 105 damage for 3 hits, and her dash attack does 135 damage, going a total of 20 meters as a Season 1. Her projectile beam now does 90 damage, with a charge up of 180, and her beam will travel faster than before. The stepping disc whirl does 105 damage, and her demon rage does 25 damage now and has 200 bonus health. The last thing is that the timer is 12 seconds. So overall, her ultimate is very great, making Magik better in every single way. Her attack will go through shields as well, and of course, this is best used on groups of enemies as you hit for a bigger range and deal more damage. And so while her ultimate is great for dealing with multiple enemies, it's also effective on focusing and hunting down individual targets, especially tanks. The combination of the whirl, her dash, her primary attack, and the demon rage make her even more dangerous on the front line. Magik shines as a fast-moving melee duelist, but they have to move around a lot to avoid the ranged DPS. A big weakness for her is ranged DPS, and heroes known for crowd control like the Invisible Woman in Iron Fist, as well as ults from Groot and Doctor Strange. Magik does have her teleports to deal with this, but if they're ranged DPS, they should be able to keep up. Ultimates from heroes like Luna Snow will also basically stop Magik for the duration. In the convoy game mode, or in general like on domination, Magik's teleport can let her get in, deal some massive damage with her spinning attack or the demon spawn, then using her wide range basic attack until the teleport is available again. This also makes Magik great for flanking as her mobility lets her get around fast. So targets that are also good for mobility like Iron Fist or Jeff are good foes to focus on at first. Using Magik's ultimate and then attacking the enemy team's backline, teleporting onto the enemy objective, acting as the front line are great plays. Getting in tons of damage and allowing your team to get easy kills during the chaos. If you're ever in a pinch or during heavy hitting ults, teleporting out with the invincibility will be the best play in order to stay alive. Now one thing to note, Magik is more of a horizontal attacker, so flying foes can be a threat. Her charged attack does have a wide range, allowing her to deal some damage, but I find it's better to avoid them if possible. You do need to make smart plays since diving into a full team of non-busy attackers will get you killed fast, but if they're focused, you can cause some big problems. So aside from the basic flow of attacks, which is just the basic and then melee to cancel that, another good one is going to be her basic attack, melee, projectile, hold the basic attack and then melee. Basic, melee, projectile, basic, melee. Just like that. It's one of her fastest skill combos, but it does take some practice to get used to. A good combo opener is using her charge slash, so you can get in a great amount of damage and then some quick hits to quickly finish off a target. Her charge does take 2 seconds, so hiding behind a wall and then breaking out to get the attack in is a great opener. And if you're close around corners, you can do the quick charge, just like this, and then go in for that slash up and then melee and melee. Her tanks, a good combo will be her basic attack, projectile, melee, portal, and then either spin attack or the demon, and then dash attack. Basic attack, projectile, melee, portal, spin attack, melee, dash, for some quick kills. I like spawning the demon to help fight attackers when coming out of the portal, but it is situational on which attack to use. If there's a lot of attackers, using the spin attack is normally the smarter play. Just as a forewarning, especially if you have not used any melee heroes before, or even just Magik in general, she can take some time to get used to, and I would strongly recommend doing the practice AI mode just to get a good feel for her, as she can be very rough to play at first. Overall, Magik is incredibly powerful, but will take some time to get used to, especially thanks to all of her many attack variations. Keeping an eye on the enemy team is going to be what makes or breaks a good Magik player. It may take some games to really get a good hang of her, but once you do, you'll be a real demonic force to be reckoned with. And that's a wrap on this Magik Marvel Rivals Ultimate Guide. Tell me, did I miss anything, or do you have any tips of your own that you think other people should know? Leave it in the comments below. And hey, hit that like button if you're still watching, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one.